and we're talking about books today on Get Book, because that's what we do.
Woo!
What's our theme?
We are still talking about our book bingo. So if you missed the first Get Book where we talked about the rules on book bingo, go back and watch that and then come back. This week we're talking about this square down here. The title is a pun.
So what do you have for us today, Jennifer? I know how much you love puns.
I do love puns. And the best thing is cozy mysteries are all about puns. So I picked all cozies today.
Cool. Mine's a little more eclectic than yours, but you have some excellent punnage.
They are great. Alright, my first one is A Killer Maze. It is a farm market mystery. It takes place in the fall. And I like this series. I actually haven't read this one yet, but I like the series because it talks about like jam making and vegetable stuff. Even though I don't really eat vegetables, I like, hearing about plants and vegetables and things like that.
Oh, you're gonna get scurvy.
Yes, I am. So this is a fun fall cozy mystery. So I'm just gonna actually add. So if you don't know cozies, cozy mysteries are kind of like your hallmarks of murder mysteries. There is a body. You don't see the actual death. There's not a lot of graphic detail. There's really no gore. It's just kind of a very light, sweet read. It's usually set in a small town. There's lots of red herrings. There's lots of different potential murderers.
Yeah, it's like mystery light.
Yes. They're fun and they're sweet.
A locale mystery, although most of them take place in bake shops. Or there's like usually some type of cooking.
There's a lot of foodie ones.
Yeah.
With recipes.
Yes.
Just who doesn't like a book with recipes?
Yeah. Okay, so I went in a different direction, as usual. So my first book is a YA book. It's called A Study in Charlotte. It's by Brittany Cavallaro. If you like Sherlock Holmes retellings, this is a book for you. So instead of A Study in Scarlet, we have A Study in Charlotte. And so it takes place at a boarding school. The protagonists are both teenage girls. Watson hates young Sherlock. And what is it? It's Jamie Watson, and then it's Charlotte Holmes. Charlotte Holmes also knows she's the great granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes, and is like real, like she's not humble about it at all. So they're kind of rivals at first, and Jamie's like, oh god, I hate Charlotte. Ugh. But then one of their classmates dies, and so it turns out because they're the two smartest girls in the boarding school, they're like, well, we should team up even though we hate each other. So like, what happens if frenemies become a mystery solving duo? And this is the first in a trilogy. So if you like a little mystery in your life and you like YA, give it a shot.
That's been on my to read list for.
Same.
This one, next cozy, is Pleating for Mystery. This is a magical dressmaking mystery, and it is the first in a series. So, Harlow was a fashion designer in Manhattan. She moves back to Texas, and things happen, and there's a body.
Ew, why would she move back to Texas?
Well,
I'm sure there's
inheritance.
Oh, money will make you move. So my next book is called All Out. So instead of like, we're going to go all out, this is an anthology that Dahlia Adler edited. And it is queer teens throughout the ages. So it's a bunch of historical fiction with LGBT characters. And it's pretty cool because it's not just like, oh, we're going to go back like 1,000 years ago. There's even like a 70s disco story. There's one about, there's one about two girls falling in love during mourning the death of Kurt Cobain from the 90s. Let's see. Forbidden Love in a 16th century Spanish convent, or an ace girl discovering her identity at the roller disco. There's also a trans soldier in 1870s Mexico. So there's just like, if you want like a bunch of like short reads, go for All Out. It's delightful. Dahlia Adler has edited several of these anthologies. She actually has a new one I'm excited about because it's all Shakespeare retellings.
So, in case you're following along with your bingo card, that counts for Book of Short Stories.
Oh yeah.
The title is a pun. Book with an LGBTQ plus main character. Mm-hmm. So that's maybe a really good one to check out.
Yeah, read strategery.
Yes, cool. Alright, my next one is a foodie one. It's for Cheddar or Worse. And this is a really fun series. It's completely written, so you don't have to wait for anything, which is great. You can just binge it all. The owner of the main character of this book owns a cheese and wine shop, and it's amazing because you want to eat all of the cheese and try all these new cheeses that they talk about.
I want cheese now because
I know.
you're talking about cheese.
Yeah, it's a book for us because we are very big into cheese. So, fun.
Cool. My next one is a graphic novel. It's called Check Please. So instead of getting your check please at a restaurant, our teen in this book joins a hockey team in college. So it's pretty adorable. It's also really good. The author grew up watching anime and reading manga, so it has a real manga feel to it, and it's really adorable and cute. You read this one, didn't you?
I loved it.
Yeah. So what is his name? Biddy is vlogging his freshman experiences. When he was in high school, he was an ice dancer, and so he is an LGBT character. So that also gets the other square on your bingo card. But he joins a hockey team of all things. And so it's also a really cool look at masculinity. It looks different because he's not your typical hockey player, but he does pretty well because he's pretty great on the ice. Also, it's just adorable. It's so good.
And he bakes too.
I was about to say, yeah, because he's also a baker.
He bakes pies.
Yeah. The art reminds me somewhere between manga and Scott Pilgrim too. It has that.
The hair is good.
Yeah.
I like it. Alright, so my next one is Dearly Departed. This is by Kate Collins. This series, I think, has a few of the Hallmark mysteries. I can't remember how many they actually did of this, but there's a couple with this character. So she is the florist. Abby Knight is the florist, and she teams up with a bar owner who's works in the same town. I want to say it's across the street. And they team up and they solve mysteries, and it's fun. So a lot more about flowers in this one too.
Cool. So my next one, I grabbed 3 of them because every single trade that comes out with this has a different pun title, and I am here for it. It is the Squirrel Girl series from Marvel Comics. So the first one is Squirrel Power. The second one is I Kissed a Squirrel, and I liked it. The third one is Squirrel, You Know It's True. I mean, we can keep going on. The fourth one is Who Runs the World? Squirrels! So they're pretty great. Squirrel Girl is one of my favorite new superhero. Well, I actually don't know if she's new. She's been around for a while. Anyway, she's been this comic has been out for the past decade, and it's also hilarious. So if you're looking for a dark, edgy comic, don't read Squirrel Girl. If you want something that's lighter and fun, it also includes puns throughout the actual comic. Read Squirrel Girl. It's great. It's her. She has her sidekicks, Chipmunk Hunk and Coy Boy. But Coy Boy is always late because he has to take the sewers in Manhattan to get places. It's not great. But yeah, so she's great. She can talk to squirrels. They form up and do a Voltron thing where she squirrel punches. It's really cool. There's mysteries that get solved. It's very funny. It's very geeky. 5 stars, would read again.
That's rare from Mary.
That's just me doing a Yelp joke, but sure.
Alright, my next one is Dead Cold Brew. This is a coffee house mystery. Lots of coffee. There's a lot of stuff about the coffee house, the people who work in the coffee house. One of the owners is the main character. She does a lot of baking, so you get a lot of the food stuff. She dates a cop, so you get some cop procedural stuff in there. A lot of fun. I don't even like coffee, but I like this series. It's fun.
I like coffee. I'm probably going to get some after this. So my next book is called You Suck, a Love Story. Christopher Moore writes really funny type, fantasy sci-fi type books, and they're set in contemporary settings. So this one, being dead sucks, but making that being undead really sucks. So Thomas C. Flood wakes up and he's a vampire, and it turns out his girlfriend, he does not know, is also a vampire and has turned to him, and he's like, oh dang, and he is trying to adjust to vampiric life because he's like, well, I can't go out in the daytime, and so he's got a teen sidekick, Abby Normal, who will go do his errands for the day, because apparently every vampire needs some type of familiar type character to go do those things. So yeah, and of course there's other things in it, maybe his girlfriend wasn't supposed to make him a vampire, because there's rules about how many vampires can exist at a time, but she loved him so much. So this is the first one. I think there's another one called Bite Me. So yeah, they're, like I said, if you want like a hysterical, like, or it's not hysterical, that's the wrong word, wrong context for that word. It's a pet peeve of mine. I can't believe I just did that. So if you want a hilarious read, that's also kind of like a little bit off the beaten path, like, go for this one. Christopher Moore is always a fun time.
My next one is one of the Julie Hyzy books. We've talked about this series before. I've talked about this series before.
It's one of your favorites, isn't it?
It is one of my favorites. It's a finished series, so you can also binge these. This one is called All the President's Menus. The main character is a chef who works in the White House. She has Secret Service boyfriend. She has another boyfriend who I forget what he does. So there's a lot of these have like light romance. Again, very hallmarky. So you see a little politics in this, but nothing crazy. It's fun.
Cool.
And foodie fun, so mysteries. Mysteries with food. That's what I meant to say. Recipes.
Cool. So my next one, I do not love the cover on this one. This is the original printing. I like the updated paperback version. Terry Pratchett has a lot of puns for his Discworld series. I debated between this one and my other one, which is my favorite one, which is Going Postal, which is when they have to take over the mail service. Maybe I should have gotten that one, because I just almost book talked it. But yeah, Equal Rites. So if you've read Discworld, or you don't know much about Discworld, there's like, I don't know, 20-something odd books, but you can people kind of subdivide them by like who the characters are. So like there's the Night Watch books, there's like the Unseen Academic books, there's the Mort Van Lipwood books, and Death books, blah blah blah. This is a part of the Witches book series. And so in the Unseen University, which is where all the wizards go to wizard college, and they're kind of jerks about it, and they're super sexist, there's never been they don't allow witches. There's never been a female wizard. We don't allow them. And so Equal Rites, there's something happens in the beginning of it with Granny Weatherwax, who's one of like the 3 witches that often gets pulled up in Discworld, in the stories that focus on them. And something happens where there's like a staff or something, and it breaks, and like she puts the power into like a baby girl or so I don't know. There's something. It's been like 5 years since I've read this book. But anyway, this little girl grows up, and it turns out her magic is more in line with like the wizard magic than it is with the witch magic. The witches are like, we can't teach you anything else. You have to go to wizard school, but they don't allow lady wizards. And she's like, okay, so she's fighting for equal rights to get in there, and she ends up outsmarting the wizards, which isn't really hard if you've ever read any of the other books, like, because the wizards are stupid. It's I think Terry Pratchett's take on the higher academics of like, you're so smart, but you miss what's right in front of your face, common sense wise, and they don't have common sense. So there's a lot of like hilarious problems that happen. I don't think the librarian orangutans in this one, but yeah. So that's a lot of words I just said. But yes, it's very funny. It's also short. It's good. Please read it. Okay, your turn.
Okay, my next one is Éclair in Present Danger. This is by Laura Bradford, and it's the first of a series. Winnie is a bakery owner, but her bakery is struggling very hard, and she's hoping that she's going to inherit some money, but instead she inherits an ambulance. So she decides that the bakery is going to close. She kind of takes the ambulance and makes it a bakery on wheels and calls it the Emergency Dessert Squad. Which sounds amazing.
I want them to come to here.
Right?
I would like emergency desserts.
Exactly. Who doesn't want to call up and have, like, awesome desserts delivered to your door? Another book with recipes and food.
Cool. So my last one, I think, do we have... Yeah, this book also has time travel. So this one, you get 2 for 1 in this one. So the Eyre Fair by Jasper Fforde, this one came out a while ago. It is in this world, time travel is possible, and you can also travel into books, and change history a little bit, which can get problematic.
Yeah.
So in this one, like, for example, England is a virtual police state where an aunt can get lost, literally in a Wordsworth poem. Militant Baconians heckle performances of Hamlet, and forging Byronic verse is a punishable offense. All this business is usual for Thursday Next, who's like the renowned special operatives in literary detection, until someone starts kidnapping characters from literature, and they start with Jane Eyre. Yeah, and so Thursday's going to track down the villain and enter the novel herself to avert a heinous act of literary homicide. So you've got like a weird time travel mystery that's kind of quirky. I think we know that I do the quirky books. So it's a pretty cool read.
Fun. My last one is Read It and Weep. It's by Jenn McKinlay. It is...
I knew you were going to get that one.
I actually was debating which one of hers to get because she has this library series. She also has a cupcake bakery series, and she has a hat mystery shop series, and all of them are fantastic. But of course, we're library, so I went with the library one. This is actually set in a small town, fictional Connecticut. Jenn McKinlay grew up in Connecticut. She doesn't live here anymore. But she also works at the library, so she gets the library things pretty good.
Hopefully better than Aurora Teagarden.
I actually haven't read those, so I can't say, but the Hallmark movies do not get the library right.
I haven't read the books, but like I can't watch the Hallmark movies. So I'm just like, you just gave that book and you didn't even scan the barcode. You scanned the front of the book where there was no barcode.
We could talk about that for different things forever.
It's so many things.
She's the librarian, but she only works at the circulation desk, and she leaves whenever she wants. And okay, we need to stop because
It's just like it's not how our job works.
We like it when librarians are portrayed as what we actually do. So this is a great one. Lindsay is the actual library director, so you kind of get a nice small town feel of what the library is like. So those are my cozies.
Cool. I'm still sad that I tried to get some of our Carrie Fisher autobiographies, but they were not on the shelf. Because her pawn titles are great. Like The Princess Diarist.
Somebody must have them checked out for our bingo!
No, they're missing on the shelf.
Oh,
we have to replace them. The Princess Diarist, I will say, is great because it's her diary while she was shooting the first Star Wars.
Nice.
And I think part of Empire Strikes Back, maybe. So it's very surprising, but she kind of has context because she looks at it from, like, her older self was like, oh, you silly, stupid child. So...
To all of us.
Yeah, it's really good. It's also a really quick read. And she's also just hilarious. I don't know if you've ever read any Carrie Fisher before.
I feel like I have, but now I'm questioning if that's true or not true.
Oh, I miss you, General. Solo. Adama. Wait. I'm crossing my streams. Battlestar Galactica. Organa. God, I am tired today. I need to get coffee.
There you go.
Alright, cool. So, thank you for joining us and Get Booked. And who knows which square from Book Bingo we'll tackle next week.
It's a mystery.
A mystery we could solve.